In this section, we will be covering direct object pronouns. These pronouns in English are pronouns such as me, you, it, him, her, them, us, and you guys. So what is a direct object? Well, a direct object receives the action of the verb directly. Now, if you ask the question, what is being verbed, then you will be able to identify the direct object. Direct objects have a specific set of pronouns. In English, these pronouns are me, you, him, her, it, us, them, you guys, or you all. The Spanish direct object pronouns are me, te, lo, la, nos, los, and las. Now these pronouns come before a conjugated verb, or after a non-conjugated verb, or after an ing ending. We're going to go through some examples and look at how they get used, these pronouns. And again, we have this table here. Study that table. You do need to know it. Let's take a look at some examples. Okay, so let's look at some examples first when these pronouns are used before a conjugated verb. All right. So first, we've got the example yo como las hamburguesas, or I eat hamburgers. Now, the first thing I want to do is identify my direct object. So I can ask myself, well, what is being verbed or what is being eaten? And in this case, it's the hamburgers. So the hamburgers is what I want to replace. I'm going to replace that noun with the pronoun. And to do that, I would say yo las como, which means I eat them. Now, the order in English is the verb and then the direct object pronoun. So eat followed by them. But in Spanish, if I have a conjugated verb, so if I say yo como or I eat, then I'm going to put the pronoun before como. So I would say yo las como. Now that sounds funny in English because it sounds like I, them, I eat, or just them, I eat. So the order in English sounds really funny. So we have to really pay close attention to remember the rule that the pronoun comes before a conjugated verb. All right, another example. Ella lee los libros, or she reads books. To say she reads them, we would say ella los lee. Notice how the verb leer is conjugated when we say ella lee, so we're putting the pronoun in front of that. So that's before a conjugated verb. Now, let's look at after a non-conjugated verb. Now you might ask yourself, when do I not conjugate a verb, or when do I leave a verb alone? We leave a verb alone when we have two verbs in a row or back to back. So let's look at the first example. Yo necesito comer la hamburguesa. So I have two verbs back to back, necesito and comer. So I need to eat the hamburger. Now instead of saying I need to eat the hamburger, I want to say I need to eat it. Okay? So we would say yo necesito comerla. Yo necesito comerla. Now this structure is nice because it follows what we do in English. If you look at the translation of yo necesito, I need, comer, to eat, and la, it, I need to eat it. So that makes sense. All right, so after non-conjugated verb. The next example. Él quiere leer el libro. He wants to read the book. And we want to replace el libro with it. He wants to read it. So we say él quiere leerlo. Now you'll notice that that's not a typo. The pronoun, if it comes after a verb, it actually gets attached to the end of the verb. And it gets read almost as one single word. So watch out for that. So we've talked about before a conjugated verb, after a non-conjugated verb. Let's look at the examples for uses of pronouns after ing endings. So the first example there is estamos comiendo los tacos, which means we are eating the tacos. Instead of saying the tacos, we want to say them. So we are eating them would be estamos comiéndolos. Estamos comiéndolos. All right, so we are eating them. Now, when the word is really long, like comiendo, and we put the word or the pronoun los at the end, it makes it really long. It actually causes the word to break some pronunciation rules, and so what we have to do is write in an accent mark where the stress of the word comiendo should go. By putting los on there, the los tells us that we need to put the stress of the word somewhere else. We don't want to follow that rule, and so we're going to write an accent telling the person where we need to stress the word. So estamos comiéndolos. We'll practice this more in class, so don't worry about it so much. The next one says, estoy leyendo el libro. I am reading the book. Instead of saying I'm reading the book, we want to say I am reading it. So we say estoy leyéndolo. Estoy leyéndolo. Okay, again, we get it all attached as one word. To preserve the stress of the word, we write an accent where we should stress the word. Okay. One little thing to note down at the bottom, it says if the direct object is a person or a pet, we'll use the letter A, which means a, or is pronounced a, before it. So an example of that, yo necesito visitar a Juan. So we ask the question, we have the verb visitar. We ask the question, well, what is being visited? In this case, it's Juan. So if that direct object is a person, Juan, we put the letter A in front of it, just as you see there in the example. Okay? So keep those things in mind, practice, and if you have any questions, feel free to email. We'll go over these more in class.